Welcome everyone to Charts Focus 1, where we teach you how to work hard and trade smart. In this video, I want to go over a very unconventional trade that we took. Drumroll please. We decided to take an earnings play. That's right. We are currently swinging a position that is going into earnings, and that ticker is right over here on your screens, BAC or Bank of America. So this earnings gamble trade was sent out to the CFO Swing and Watch members on Sunday night in the private CFO Discord because, number one, earnings season was kicked off in a very, very strong way, especially when the mega cap banks decided to report with very, very upbeat earnings. So banks like JP Morgan and Chase, or even BlackRock. So JPM here had a very good quarter as they provided beats on both earnings estimates and even revenue estimates. And on top of that, the earnings reaction was to the upside. And on Friday, it ended up over 7.50% on the day. That is a huge move. And so thanks to the financial sector moving in such a big upbeat way, Bank of America, which doesn't have earnings yet, moved up a lot between last Thursday and last Friday. And so I had a little fun idea thinking that, okay, well, if the theme here is that bank, especially mega cap banks, decide to continue to report very strongly and have a very upbeat reaction to the upside from their great earnings report, I am going to think that BAC will also do the same. And so Bank of America has earnings coming out tomorrow at pre-market hours. And I told my CFO Swing Watch members that, okay, here's the deal. We will go in today early in the morning. And that's exactly what we did. So as seen here on the screenshot, on Sunday night, I sent in this message. I said, rare ER or earnings gamble, high risk play, because it's a 50-50 uncertain event here that we're playing with. BAC earnings trade 30 strike call contracts or 31 strike call contracts that expire on April 21st. So basically weekly expiration contracts. All right. And if you guys didn't know, weekly expiring contracts are very, very high risk within themselves. Now, today I replied to that message from Sunday night saying that I am in the BAC $30 strike call contracts that expire on April 21st at 6:43 a.m. And if you guys know the drill, we're going to translate this message to my favorite intraday time frame, the 15-minute time frame. Bam. So as seen by the white arrow here, this is the second 15-minute candlestick that we got into today. And as you guys can clearly see, we decided to get in once we're able to hold this $29.60 resistance level. And you might be wondering, well, Andrew, where did you get this resistance level? Well, just take a look at the previous candlesticks. And on the 15-minute time frame, last Friday, we were creating this $29.60 level for about 2 hours here on Friday. And so I told myself, okay, well, if we decide to come back down to retest this level and bounce on top of it, that will be our entry point. And guess what? We literally sniped this entry right after market open. Because again, when do we go in? At 6:43 a.m. Oh, my apologies, guys. It should be on the 5 minute here. Let me give you guys an actual candlestick of when we got in. All right. So it was right over on this specific candlestick. All right. I forgot to give you guys the actual candlestick where we got in. And so as we decided to go up higher, we started to kind of oscillate right over $29.60. And so I told myself I need to get in now, right? And thankfully, I got filled right as the underlying share price was sitting at $29.61. And so my personal contracts, that 30 strike call contracts, ended up being filled at $56 per contract. Now, hopefully, my CFO Swing Watch members could have gotten in at least somewhere between $56 per contract to $58 per contract after seeing my message. And if you translate to the underlying share price, I would hope that they saw that the underlying share price was around $29.60 to around $29.65 before they got filled in. But whatever the underlying share price was, I hope that my members got in somewhere between $56 to $58 per contract on that specific strike. Now, right after we got in, let's go back to the 15-minute time frame. Okay, we started to move up higher and higher and higher. So we made higher highs and higher lows, which is what we call a textbook uptrend. And as we continued to go up higher, I told my members every step of the way that they can take profits. Why? Because I do not want my members to lose money on a gamble. And so if people weren't comfortable with holding overnight into earnings as a 50-50 gamble, which is a horrible risk to reward ratio, they can take profits. And that's the reason why when we hit 50%, I told people that we can take profits. And when we hit 60%, I also told them that we can take profits. So for example, on this screenshot, okay, I replied to a message right over here. BAC is nearly 60% plus. And then I told everyone that we can take profits, or you can take profits if you aren't comfortable holding through earnings. And at the end of the day, I said we almost ended at 70% for BAC. And I said, hope some of you guys are able to day trade at the very least if you're not gambling and holding through earnings overnight. And the same contracts here at $30 strike call contracts ended up at $94 per contract. And that leaves us with nearly 70% gained on the day. And so if we decide to take out the risk factor of holding through earnings, we have a very, very nice day trade where we sniped the bottom and we ended up taking profits at the top. But personally for me, I am holding through. All right. Now, the reason for that is, well, I will put that in the description box below. Now, let me tell you guys something. All right. So no matter what happens tomorrow, whether I am right on being bullish or whether I'm right, or whether I'm, wrong on being bullish on this earnings gamble, this will probably be the last gambling trade that I take for the rest of the year. Why? Well, I highly, highly do not recommend anyone taking a earnings gamble trade because they are very, very high risk and it's a 50-50 uncertain event. That is a horrible risk to reward ratio. And I made a very long length video on this specific topic, which I will link down below in the description box. So make sure you guys check it out. But basically, you should never ever gamble on earnings just because maybe you lucked out and had a huge percentage return overnight by gambling through earnings. And that does not mean that you should gamble on every single earnings opportunity, especially during earnings season right now, where we have a bunch of tech earnings and other big major earnings coming out until the first week of May. So again, check out that video down below. I will make sure to link it down below, and it's a pretty good long video for you guys to listen into as to why you guys should never gamble earnings, especially if you had some sort of a lucky streak of gambling earnings, because your luck will run out. It is a 50-50 risk to reward play. Horrible ratio there. And it's a very horrible thing to do for your hard-earned money to try to gamble big, right? And that's the reason why I personally took a very small amount to play with this name. And that's the reason why the contracts that I chose today, that 30 strike call contract, was also relatively cheap for me. All right. And thankfully, due to the price moving up higher and higher until the rest of the day, that specific contract ended up being in the money. So that contract is safe. But is it? Of course not, because tomorrow we have earnings, right? Again, this is an earnings gamble. I am not safe here just because my contracts are in the money. Now, of course, we got the added benefits of an increased IV right before the earnings report that comes out tomorrow morning during pre-market hours, as I said a couple of seconds ago. And this allowed the premiums on our contract, that 30 strike call contract, to jump up higher before the close today. And again, my members could have closed it as a day trade, and you guys could have closed it as a day trade as well. Now, what's interesting here is that we also got a jump in the share price today after hours. Now, this doesn't really mean anything during a 50-50 uncertain event like earnings, but it does pique interest in other investors slash traders who are bullish and who are looking to buy into this name after they report earnings tomorrow morning. And so depending on how earnings goes and depending on how the stock reacts to that earnings report, the investors and traders who are on the sidelines will go in. And the only reason why I'm telling you guys this is that the after hours price action was kind of interesting to see as people continued to go in and bid the price up higher after the market was closed. And again, does that mean anything? No. All right. That just tells me that there is a heightened interest in this name, especially before earnings and particularly after earnings, depending on how the stock reacts to the report that comes out in the morning. All right. So that's a brief summary of the reason why I wanted to tell you guys that there has been an increase in the share price after hours. Now, with BAC, all right, I'll leave you guys with one last thing. Okay, so my maximum profit target for BAC is going to be at $30.50 if we weren't having earnings. But because we have earnings tomorrow, if we have a bullish reaction to the upside tomorrow morning during pre-market hours, I expect the price to jump all the way up to 31 and even over 31. Why? Well, we have the daily 50 SMA right over here, and we are very close to it right now, as the 50 SMA closed at $31.34. Okay, so hopefully, and there has to be a lot of hope going into tomorrow morning, we are sitting around $31. And again, this is all luck and hope. All right, this is an earnings gamble. Again, a 50-50 uncertain event. And so hopefully you guys can send some luck our way as we hold on to this trade overnight. All right, and that is it for this trade breakdown. If you liked what you heard, please leave a thumbs up down below. And if you're new here, check out the description box below again for the link to the CFO Swing Watch newsletter. You can gain access to the current swing trades that we have right now and much more. Also, make sure you guys check out the other videos on this channel to continue your learning in trading. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on another video.